All right, welcome back to the NCAA 2014 TexAgs tournament here on the Ocho. Today, we're going to talk about the Final Four and kick off our national championship look ahead. This week, the games were brought to you by Boring because we haven't seen any games in like a week to watch. So I'm guilty of this, but let's start playing some of these consolation games, at least just for fun. We need something to watch. So our Final Four was set. We had the number 1 Gators versus the number 7 Gamecocks, and number 1 Huskers versus number 4 Badgers. Let's first talk about this SEC East matchup. The Gators take down the Gamecocks 42-21.
Yeah, so this game was pretty good early on. Remember it being a little bit of back and forth in the first half. I think the halftime score was something like 14-7 or 21-14 or something like that. Then in the second half, Florida just ran away with it, and it really was no contest after that. Cody's team really dominated South Carolina there in the second half, but at the same time, South Carolina had some good plays, gave some trouble to Florida to make it somewhat competitive for part of the game. But yeah, that's pretty much it. A good game all around by Florida to get to the championship.
Yeah, I think the key here, or at least the thing I noticed, was that after relying on the passing game for almost all the tournament, Florida turned around and just said, "You can't stop my running game."
Yep.
And just ran it down his throat. I don't remember how many passes he threw, but it was in the single digits
7.
probably.
Yeah, number 7. Yeah.
So lots of running the ball. It just, you can't stop it, and here you go. Take it and take the loss.
Some pretty timely interceptions there in the second half as well, which helped.
Yeah. So Cody, you can go ahead. What did you think about your performance?
Obviously we're happy to get the win. I knew this was going to be a good game. I felt confident going in, just having watched some of his previous games. Didn't know exactly what to expect. I know we talked about some of the interesting defensive adjustments he would make pre-snap. Didn't see too much of that. I think it mostly because I was just so adamant on running the ball, which was pretty much my game plan going in to kind of counter some of those weird pre-snaps adjustments we'd seen. So yeah, I mean, we were happy. It was a back and forth game in the first half. A lot of disconnections in the middle, but yeah, it was a 21-14 game at half, and then pretty much back and forth until maybe midway through the third. And then, like Chris had mentioned, we had some timely turnovers. Had a late score to push the margin to 14 points, and then on the ensuing kickoff, South Carolina was taken out of the end zone, and one of my kickoff coverage men laid the smackdown on his kickoff returner, and we ended up returning that for a touchdown. So the final score in the margin of 21 points is a little misleading. The game was definitely closer to that. It certainly felt closer while playing. It was a good game though, and South Carolina users definitely a good player. But yeah, the game plan going in, the majority of the time in this tournament, I've just been pass, relying on the deep pass, using the run to set up the play action pass and going deep. In this game, I just said, I'm just going to run the ball until he stops it. And he didn't. It was just, 5 yards here, 7 yards here, 8 yards here, 6. I mean, it was just run. And then as soon as he got too comfortable and it felt like he could come up and stop the run, just hit him with a deep ball. So it was pretty much perfect in what I'd like to do offensively. So we were really happy with our performance offensively and defensively, getting a lot of turnovers and holding them to 21 points.
So Cody, a big theme in both these games was disconnects. How do you think that affected either how you were playing the game or like your rhythm, calling plays and handling that? Because that really sucks. That's hard to do.
Interestingly enough, like I said, the final margin of victory was 21 points. And when we had our first disconnect late in the first half, I had the momentum squarely. It was 21-7. Just got a third down stop on South Carolina. There's about 2 minutes left in the game. He could have gone forward on fourth had we continued playing that game, but we ended up disconnecting right there on 4th and 2. So who knows what happened, but the momentum was definitely on our side. And who knows, the game could have gotten out of hand. But having all those disconnects and the weird way this game, momentum, it's a game, right? It's a console game. So it's hard to say that momentum is actually a real thing, but it certainly feels like a real thing when you're playing this game. It seems like once things start rolling your way and you really get going, that turnovers happen. You have guys, instead of deflecting passes, they're actually picking them off. Things like that happen. It seems like we had that going our way. And then we had 2 more disconnects after that we kind of had to figure out how we were going to run the game clock and how we were going to set up the kind of similar scenario to where we disconnected at. But overall, it sucked. Not looking forward to the future matchup because I know that one is going to be it's going to have a lot of disconnects. Unfortunately, I can see that happening. But yeah, I know it sucked, and you want to keep the game fluid and going, and don't have any of those interruptions. But it is what it is. EA servers are not too reliable, so yeah, it definitely played a part. But luckily we were able to overcome that.
All right, let's look at our second matchup in the Final Four. Number 1, the Huskers taking on the Badgers. This final score was 41 or 42-7. Is that correct?
Yep, that's right. This one, Wisconsin got a score at some point in the first half, but Nebraska scored a couple, 2 or 3 touchdowns really early on and really never let the foot off the gas. Really great defensive performance on the Nebraska side, which I know Ryan is always concerned about his defense's ability to tackle and cover. So I'm sure he's really excited about that performance in that game. Was really looking forward to this game. I thought, Wisconsin's defense throughout the tournament had been really good. And I was hoping to see some of that, but unfortunately, I guess that 2-headed monster in that Nebraska backfield was too much to handle, and ended up being, unfortunately, a blowout. Ryan, Cody, what was your take on it?
So my takeaway was Ryan's really good. I think we all knew that. I think we all knew that coming in. No, I think Wisconsin presented some challenges to Ryan, at least game plan wise. Ryan was able to overcome those pretty easily, as evidenced by the final score. So I definitely picked Nebraska to win this one. I figured maybe a 3 touchdown differential. I didn't think it was going to be quite the blowout that we saw, but yeah, Ryan handled him very easily in this game. It was hard to watch. We had 3 disconnects in the game that I played against South Carolina. I don't know. I think Ryan had 7 in his. It was ridiculous. It was hard to keep up. There were several points watching on Twitch where I had to keep asking what's the score, how much time is left. It was
a lot of math had to be done.
Yeah, there was. It was ridiculous. But yeah, no, this game, Nebraska handled it pretty easily, and that wasn't surprising, really. Like I said, I didn't quite expect it to be that much of a blowout, but yeah, Nebraska was just too much for this Wisconsin team. What do you think, Coach?
Well, I thought it was a good game. We definitely were proud of our defense and the way that they performed. We, cleared the strings off the corn, if you want to use that metaphor one more time before it's completely out of use. But no, defense performed really well. We were able to tackle. We definitely watched game film after the talking that the Wisconsin head coach did in the pre-game press tour. And so with that, we saw there were some key plays that Wisconsin relied on in key situations, and we were able to sit on those and get some turnovers. So great defensive performance. On offense, we just wanted to play smart and not turn the ball over, and we were able to do that and score some points along the way.
All right, on the phone now we have our Wisconsin head coach, Sweet Caroline 16. What are your thoughts on this game, Coach?
Well, number one, can you fellers hear me?
Yep,
Yes,
we
sir.
got you.
All right, perfect. So yeah, I was able to hear bits and pieces of that. It's not a surprise that even during the Nebraska head coach's interview, it was cutting in and out. Seemed to have an effect on our momentum, as it was brought up earlier. But we'll allow that to slide for this go round. Thankfully, it's a divisional matchup, so we'll see them next season and we'll be more prepared. we do have to say that on that second drive, we did run a deep ball pass that was just off the fingertips of our second string wide receiver. We actually found out that after the game, he tested positive for marijuana, so he will no longer be with the team at this point in time. We feel that that had an effect on the game, in addition to the coach being a little sleepy, not in actuality, but just at the game. But overall, credit is due where it needs to be placed with that Nebraska squad. We know that they'll handily take care of that Florida team, because if there's one thing that Gators are allergic to, it is corn and cornmeal-based products. But we did find one interesting thing, and I don't know if your graphics boy over there at the ESPN headquarters has it, but we noticed that Wisconsin did have the toughest route to go through, facing two top 5 overall seeded teams throughout the entire 32 based ranking. In addition to the fact that somehow South Carolina, being the lowest ranked remaining team, was able to not face the highest remaining opponent in Nebraska. But that's neither here nor there. We'll be making sure we send our complaints to the league office once we're done with this entire tournament. But other than that, again, credit due to Nebraska. And we're looking forward to that consolation bracket and hopefully coming home with the NIT of the NCAA tournament.
Very prestigious.
Like it.
Very prestigious. All right, let's turn our attention to our national championship. We have chalk, of course, 1 versus 1. I think a lot of us probably could have seen this matchup coming. First off, Chris, what is your take on this? And then we'll hear from the coaches.
Yeah, so this is going to be a great game. I know we say that a lot, and I've said that about just about every matchup, but I truly believe this is going to be a tough battle for each team. They know each other very well, have a number of matchups in different online dynasties and offline games and whatnot. So I think they're going to have to be creative with their play calling. Maybe, we see some trick plays or some new formations or plays that they aren't used to running against each other to try and change things up. But yeah, it's going to be back and forth. There's going to be a lot of crap talking on whichever stream we get to watch. Hopefully, praying, crossing fingers, it's Cody's, because it'll be the more fun, just from our rating. But yeah, it's going to be one score game type game. It's coin flip at this point. Florida definitely has the talent advantage over Nebraska. But yeah, so I'll give it up to Cody. Is that where we're going here?
Sure.
All right.
All right. Yeah. So this game is a matchup between two opponents that are very, very familiar with each other. Definitely know what each person wants to do on both sides of the ball. One coach on the Nebraska side is a little bit more fluid and is a little bit more willing to change his game plan mid-game than the other one is. But the Florida side, we've grown since we first started playing. We're no longer a one-dimensional forwards go type offense. We definitely like to pound the ball a lot more now. So no, this is a good game. I think in all of our dynasties we played probably 12 times. I think Ryan has won 9 of those games. But recently those matchups have become much more close. With Florida, with me winning the past 2, but Ryan still having a significant advantage overall. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. This game, if I had to pinpoint any kind of difference maker it's going to be turnovers. I don't think there will be very, very, very few punts in this game. I would set the over under around 3.5, and that's probably even too high.
Way over. Or way under.
Yeah, that's probably too high, honestly. But this game is going to come down to turnovers. Who makes the least amount of mistakes? There's going to be, if I had to guess, there's going to be quite a few points scored. I would think this game is probably going to be in the 30s on both sides, possibly low 40s on both sides. Just 2 really good offenses, and in my opinion, 2 good defenses as well. But the offenses are that much better. So we'll see how it goes. It's going to be a great game. We're definitely looking forward to it. And yeah, this Wisconsin coach over here thinking this is just going to be a manhandle game. It was a fun run for you. You did take care of a lot of guys, but you met your match in the Final Four, and that's probably the appropriate exit.
Ryan, what are your thoughts here?
Yeah, no, I think it's gonna be a great game. Cody kind of hit on all the points I was going to. The last couple of games have definitely gone Cody's way when we played each other. So momentum's on his side, if we want to talk about that, and he probably has the better team. I honestly don't know who's going to win, and I definitely want to mention the fact that, or at least emphasize Cody's point that he's grown a lot as a player from the first time we played. Because I did a scouting report on Cody way back when, and it basically said, stop 4 verticals and you'll win. And I think I blew him out the first couple times because that's all he ran. So I think now we're at the point where he and I have the most complicated offenses, in the sense that we are willing to adapt and run pretty much anything at any time because we're used to it and we're not one dimensional in any way. So it'll be a great game with a lot of adjustments, and we'll see how it goes.
So I think that the key to this game is going to be patience, and who can overcome a mistake and not break a controller or not get too mad, wrong button to throw. I don't know if Cody he's grown a lot, but I don't know if patience is what we call it is one of his strong suits. Yeah, if I had to pick one thing to look at, that's what I'm going to look at.
All right,
Well, if that's the
we
case, then Ryan's going to win.
That's fair. No, I will definitely go on tilt every now and then, especially when I start to feel the pressure heating up. So what about we need some predictions from you guys?
All right, well, real quick, we'll set some over-unders. Disconnections, I'm going to put it at 4.5.
Yep.
Under.
I'll go under.
I'll go under for that as well.
Interesting. Okay. Turnovers, put it at 2.5.
Over.
Under.
Over.
Under.
All on Cody's side.
Field goals, 1.5.
Under.
Under.
Yeah, under, way under.
I like
If there's a field goal,
Okay.
it's going to come from Ryan. It's not going to come
Right.
from me.
Total
All right, I'm gonna
points
go-
scored. Sorry, go ahead, Chris.
No, keep going. You got it.
I was going to say total points scored at 72.5.
Over.
Under.
I'll go under.
Total meltdowns by Cody, 1.5.
Over.
Over.
Very fair. All right. We'll see how Vegas does.
I'm going to pick Ryan real quick before we get cut off. Adam, who are you
Adam?
picking?
I'm taking Ryan. Sorry, Cody.
Damn.
Patience.